everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Rose and this is the very first video of my channel. So welcome all. Much appreciate that you're here and hope you're having a great day so far. So I was scrolling through Netflix a couple of days ago because I heard that they're putting all the Studio Ghibli movies on Netflix. So I was like, yeah, great. So I'm just gonna go and check out and see which ones they have on. And while I was doing that, there was this one title that kind of caught my attention out of nowhere. So when I first started reading manga, the only genres that I would read when I first started out was basically everything that had to do with romance. All thing that had the romance tag on it, I was reading it. I was reading hundreds and hundreds, thousands of manga that had it was pure nonsense. I did not care. And so obviously while I was doing that, I came across the whole smut category, and obviously I started reading that trashy, smutty garbage, and I was just basically gobbling them up like a starving raccoon. That was my thing. All day, every day, I was just reading every single thing that I could find under the roof. Smutty romance. Yeah. I was this is something new. I can't believe stuff like this actually exists. Little did I know, one of the artists that I came across during my smutty ventures was this lady called Aihara Miki. The first manga of hers that I actually attempted to read, and I use the word attempted because I couldn't get past the first, I think 3 or 4 chapters, I don't remember, it was way back. And that manga was called Teacher's Pet. Teacher's Pet was just so bad in so many ways, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't read it. So I stopped, but my curiosity got the better of me because I was okay, maybe this is just this is probably just one bad series that she has out of because she had written a lot of stuff that I saw. So I was okay, maybe I'll give something else a shot. And the other popular one title that she had was known as Hot Gimmick. And I started reading Hot Gimmick and I just dropped it. I was nah. I'll give Aihara Miki credit where credit is due. After reading the stuff that this author was putting out, I was you know what? I think I need to be a little bit more choosy with the shit that I read. I know I'm gonna be reading shit, but at the very least they have to be shit of a certain standard. So fast forward to a few days ago, and I'm scrolling through Netflix, really excited, really happy. Ghibli movies are on Netflix. I can't wait to show all my non-anime watching friends. I've been trying to get them to watch something or the other for so long. This is it. This is the gateway. It's on Netflix. There's no way they can say no to all my pestering. I'm just gonna make them we're just gonna have a fun time. And while I'm scrolling through all these and just Netflix in general, I come across this. This is a movie. It is a Japanese movie. It is a Japanese movie released in the year 2019 called Hot Gimmick, Girl Meets Boy. Hot Gimmick, the manga, is over 2 decades old. I mean, not over 2 decades old exact. I think it's exactly 2 decades old. It came out in the year 2000. It ran from 2000 to 2005. So it's 20 years old. And so I'm there's no way this is gonna be a movie adaptation of Hot Gimmick, the manga that was released in the year 2000 by Aihara Miki. No, not in this day and age, not in this era. It's probably not. It's something different. Yeah, so I read the description of Hot Gimmick, the movie 2019, and it's as follows. One guy's a bully in love, the other's a friend with secrets. It's a bully romance, is what it is. It's a bully love story. It's a bully romance love story. The thing is, I would understand if this was some sort of meta commentary on how toxic relationships are, some sort of satire or something that message that this is not how relationships are supposed to be, this isn't how it's supposed to go. I would understand if it was something like that. but it's not. It is truly presented in every single form as a cute, fluffy, romantic, typical shoujo story. Once I start getting more in depth, my 5 viewers, you will understand that why it is not, and it should not be allowed to exist, not only in 2019 but like during any period of time. It ain't cute, it ain't fluff, it ain't romantic in the least, like none of those things. It is, however, very toxic and very problematic. That's what it is. You should have no expectations of any form, positive or negative, while going in to watch this movie. I would suggest not to watch the movie in the first place, but if you're planning to, don't have anything. And obviously the video is gonna contain spoilers about the movie, and I just want to put out a basic trigger warning as well, because the movie doesn't. I will be talking about certain things that might be a little bit triggering to some people. So if you feel like these topics that I'm going to talk about is something that makes you uncomfortable, something that you don't want to be exposed to, I would suggest don't watch the rest of the video. Thank you for sticking around so far. Really appreciate it. I don't want people to be affected in a bad way because of the comments and the reviews I'm gonna be making about this Hot Gimmick the movie. So the movie begins. There's one girl and she has 3 love interests. Oren from Parks and Rec, this guy, his distinctive feature is the fact that he has orange hair, and this guy who's just there for some reason. The first thing that you notice when you start watching this movie, like as the movie progresses, is just how weirdly this movie is shot. So one of the things that I have a problem with throughout the movie is just everyone's faces are so zoomed in, like constantly, like it's like this, like constantly zoomed in, like, you know, like, and it's not even just like the entire face, it's different parts of the face. So very headache inducing. The other one that I have a problem with is the music choice. This is supposed to be a romantic, fluffy, cute movie, right? So naturally, the music accompanying a lot of these scenes are also cute and romantic. The issue is these particular scenes, the dialogues, and if you see what's happening in these scenes, they are not cute and romantic. They are completely bad and very toxic in context. Like there's this one part, the main character, Oren from Parks and Rec, his name is Ryoki, has already turned Hatsumi into his slave, okay? And he is ordering her to kiss him, and she doesn't want to. She says it outright, like she does not want to, and he is like, you're my slave, you have to kiss me, that is an order, otherwise I'm gonna, you know, I'll get into what he's gonna do. And this whole scene is playing out, right? And he's not even saying it in a very like flirtatious way, so you can like even like mistake it as like him like, you know, being flirty about it, or like he's actually like interested in some way in her, like, you know, during the whole scene. He's not. He's like being very mean, very degrading, very condescending throughout the entire scene to her, and now he's like, you have to kiss me, I'm ordering you to kiss me. And there's this music playing in the background, and it's supposed to make the entire scene seem fluffy, like, you know, it's supposed to give it like this air of fluff, but it's not. You know, there should be playing like a horror music behind the scenes. Like, anyways, so let's talk about the movie now, and by let's I mean me. So it starts off with Hatsumi. She's meeting up her sister outside the train station, and she's giving her sister something. And Hatsumi at one point is like, take a look at the contents in the bag and stuff, and like, you know, see if they're all right. And she pulls out a pregnancy test. And I'm like, okay. Happens. Understandable. Okay. It's fine. It happens. My issue with the whole scene is Akane, the younger sister, right? She suspects that she's pregnant, and she's being like so she's treating the whole situation as if it's a game. Like, it's like, we still have a mission to complete, and she's being so upbeat and like jolly about it. And I'm just confused, because I know that if I were pregnant as a high schooler, if I even suspect, not forget high schooler, if I suspect now at this exact moment of time that I am pregnant, I would be freaking out, like praying to every single god in existence, like just hoping and praying that no, like please no, like can't. And she's just treating the whole thing as a game. Along with the pregnancy test, Hatsumi has also bought her a packet of condoms. Be like, yo, you're having sex, but like, be safe at least, right? Her younger sister, who is maybe pregnant at like what, 16? Okay, like 16 and pregnant. She is just like, I'm not gonna use them. And her sister's like, why not? She's like, I just liked the feeling of doing it raw. She's like, I like doing it raw. I like the feeling. I'm not gonna use a condom. And I'm like, bitch, are you serious? You're a high schooler. You find out later on in the movie, she is in middle school, the 9th grade to be exact. She is 15 at most. Okay, she is 15 years old. She's sexually active. She had unprotected sex, and her sister, out of concern and being like, I understand you're having sex, like but just be safe, use a condom. She's like, I'm not gonna be using a condom. Who cares if I end up pregnant? I don't want to be left unsatisfied while I'm having the sex because the other person is wearing a condom. So I'm just gonna have like unsafe, unprotected sex. Never mind, like she might be getting some sort of STD or something. On top of saying that she's gonna have unprotected sex, she's also like, you would never understand how it feels. And like, if this was my sister, I don't care how old she is, bitch be getting her ass whooped. Like, I cannot. This is like within the first 2 minutes of the movie, and immediately I know what kind of a movie this is gonna be. I'm gonna hate every minute of it. Up until this point, Akane is being like, she's being very, she's saying dumbass stuff, but she's not being like a mean bitch about it, right? She's just having like a normal conversation. While they're having this conversation, this guy, he comes up and he runs into them, and turns out this guy is actually their older brother, Shinobu. They are siblings. So immediately I'm thinking, oh, okay, I should dismiss the theory of Shinobu being a potential love interest of Hatsumi. But then I remember this is Hot Gimmick the movie based on Hot Gimmick the manga by Aihara Miki. And this movie not only has toxic relationships and misogynistic tones and a lot of other triggering things, it also has incest. So, yay. So, Shinobu and Hatsumi have a conversation. You find out Shinobu's her brother, and sometime around this, Akane decided that she's gonna do a complete 180, and her entire tone and the way she talks just changes into like pure frustration. And as soon as Shinobu leaves, she starts swinging her bag around, and she's like screaming at the top of her lung, like, you are never gonna understand what it feels like and stuff, like, just basically reiterating whatever she said before the brother came. But now she's just frustrated and mad for some reason. And while she's doing that, the pregnancy test that was in her bag flies out. Obviously, at that time, our main guy character, Ryoki, he's passing by and he catches the pregnancy test, and he sees, like, from which direction it came, and like, you know, who's the one, like, you know, who tossed the pregnancy test. And now we know what the whole bully situation is. So it turns out like all these characters, like Hatsumi and Akane and her brother Ryoki and orange-haired Azusa, right? They all live in the same apartment complex. You know, the next day, getting ready to go to school, Ryoki bumps into a Katsumi, and my God, this guy. This is Hatsumi and Ryoki's, the main couple, by the way. The couple that we should be like focused on, maybe even rooting for, like, to get together, because it's a reverse harem. You always have a favorite, right? The first interaction that they have is just one big nope. He is like, "Oh, you're pregnant, slut." And then this one guy who from the apartment complex, who's also like, you know, their friend, his name is Subaru. He comes by to like greet them, like, you know, be like, "Good morning." And then Ryoki is like, "Hey, did you know that this girl's a slut?" And she just like does this, like, you know, she's like on his lips, like, you know, ooh, it's supposed to be like their first touch or whatever. Ooh, so cute. After Subaru leaves, Ryoki proceeds to blackmail her. He's like, "Agree to be my slave, or I'm gonna tell everyone about the pregnancy test, including your parents." And I'm like, okay, I think the scenario that I had in mind was a little less bad, but he's like, "No, take everything that you've thought of and just bat it out of your head." So there's blackmail. That's how he gets her into being his slave. And not only that, he also says this one line. I'm just thinking, I saw that line. If this is an actual line from the manga, I'm not gonna go and read even like one page or even one panel of the manga, you know. I'm not gonna do that. I refuse. Just seeing the words "hot gimmick" on my Netflix screen, like Ihara Miki has given me like PTSD. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna go and like look into whether or not the dialogue in this movie is similar to whatever the dialogue in the manga is. But all I'm saying is it came from somewhere. So whether it was a movie only original dialogue, or whether it was someone that was directly like handpicked from the manga, they still went ahead and made this movie in this era. He's not even using the term as a sort of like, you know, I don't know what else to call her, like, you know, like, she's gonna be my slave. Like, what else is she gonna be? Like, I just want to put it out there, like, before I forget, this movie is on Netflix. No one is out there actively seeking out a copy of Hot Gimmick, mostly for the fact that, like, you know, it's a very old manga. People like me have read like their fair share of like romance and like shoujo and stuff. Like, we have probably come across Hot Gimmick at some point in our life. It's more likely that it was around the time that it was published. So my point is, like, you know, it doesn't have as large of an audience that it can reach out to as this movie does, because it's on Netflix. It's on the largest streaming website in the entire world. There are people of all ages that watch Netflix, and this movie in particular, the story in particular, is targeted towards adolescent, teenage, young girls. And just the way that it's presenting itself as it, like, you know, the fact that it's supposed to be a cute, relatable, romantic movie. I just worry, like, I have enough faith in like people to believe that like they understand that even though this movie is portrayed as a romantic drama, it is anything but drama. Maybe romantic and relatable, a representation of what a relationship can be like, and like, you know, still end up well for both parties. I hope people who watch this have, you know, the capability to understand and make judgment calls for themselves, that this is not that. Like, this is not how any sort of loving relationship is supposed to be. And my problem is, like, even if there's like millions of people who watch this and they understand that, like, yeah, no, this is not it. There's even like one person out there who believes that, you know what, this is an accurate representation of not what a relationship is, but what a relationship can be like between these two characters in particular, because they're like the main couple, right? Then that for me is a problem. That for me, is enough reason to believe that like this movie should not exist in the first place, especially on a platform as big as Netflix. That is basically why I decided like this would be like the first video that I make. This is an issue for me. Like I thought like I should do my bit, no matter how small it is, in trying to warn people and be like, yo, don't fall for whatever this movie is trying to sell. It's garbage. It could be an accurate representation of a relationship, but you should not take it the way they are trying to sell it. Okay, it is not something positive. It is something bad and problematic. And if there's anything that you take out of watching this movie, be like, whatever relationship is supposed to be, it's supposed to be the opposite of that. So I just needed to get that off my chest. So that's that. So Hatsumi agrees to be Ryoki's slave, and while this whole interaction is going on, our second main character, whose name is Azusa, he's the guy with the dyed hair, he comes along. He and Hatsumi used to be childhood friends, and he moved away when he was a kid, and he's come back and he's decided that like he's gonna live here again, and he's openly flirting with Hatsumi, and Ryoki is like annoyed, and basically he rescues Hatsumi from that whole interaction. Like he drags her away and takes her to school. They go to the same school. He's a model, so obviously he's like very popular, and Azusa turns around and asks Hatsumi like if they can like hang out or something, and obviously this triggers like all the other girls in the class, and they're like openly bullying her and saying like mean things about her. Every character in this movie is garbage. Most of the characters in this movie, they only exist to like bully Hatsumi in some way, or like take advantage of her in some way, or just be like downright like treat her inhumanely in some ways. Or the entire plot of the movie, Hatsumi gets like treated like garbage, and she's such a big pushover that she just accepts all these treatments from other people, and she apologizes for their behavior towards her, which is again why and that's basically like the whole movie. Like that is her character. Azusa's like actively showing like romantic interest in Hatsumi, and she's being like all shy, and she's like, oh, I don't understand why this person is interested in me. I am not good looking at all, because obviously that is the one thing that attracts one person to another person, like just like the shallowness of their looks. Like I get it, that's probably like the initial base attraction. Like you see someone, you think they're like good looking, and you're like, wow, okay, attractive. But there's more to it, especially between two people who've known each other for a long time, because like I said, they used to be like childhood friends and stuff, right? Yeah, they've lost touch along the way, but like he's just actively like pursuing her, so I'm guessing there's some aspect of her personality he must have like liked. Ryoki butts into the conversation, as Ryoki does. He tosses his bag to Hatsumi, and he's like, you gotta carry my bag to prep school with me. And Azusa is like, why? And he's like, she's my slave, she's gotta. And like he doesn't even offer like any other explanation. Hatsumi doesn't offer any explanation as to like how this relationship came to be, but she just fucks off with him. And that is when this scene, the problematic one with the music scene, happens. And the thing with Ryoki is I don't understand him as a character. Like I don't understand his motivations, like for the way he talks to and behaves with Hatsumi. Like at one point he's just slut shaming her like openly in public, right? And she is a complete pushover. Like there is no bit of like, not even a little bit of assertiveness in her. And then he switches his tone, like he's still speaking to her in the same like demeaning, condescending tone, telling like like the women population as a whole are so like indecisive and unaware of like they always have like things handed over to them, that's why they don't understand like hardships and all that sort of shit. And I'm like, okay, like he has a general hatred for women, and he's just taking it out on the one easy target that he could find. He's just lashing out on. But then he turns around and then also telling her like, where is your own willpower? Like you gotta do shit for yourself, like be able to think for yourself and stuff like that, blah blah blah. And I'm like, what? Like I don't understand where he's coming from. Like, don't be so faltering and like latch on to someone who shows even like a little bit of affection towards. And then after that he's also like, and that scene happens where he's like, I'm ordering you to kiss me, and the whole reason why he's is because he feels like she's a duck. She imprints on people, like whoever, like shows slightest bit of affection, and so he's like, oh, if you kiss me, then maybe like, you know, you fall for me instead of like, you know, Azusa over there. And I'm like, okay, there's like way too much going on here. Like your thought process is something that's like way all over the place. Do you not like her? Are you concerned for her? Are you jealous of Azusa because she likes him, or you know, she's interested in him? Like, what is it? Which is it? I don't get it. Like, what is motivating you to talk to her the way you are, like to say these things to her? Like, what is it? Are you doing it like I don't get it. Like, are you concerned for her well-being, you know? And that's why you're like, oh, you shouldn't, like, you know, fall for the first person who's like, you know, nice to you. Is that why you're saying it, because you're concerned for her? Or is it because you're jealous of Azusa? Like, that's why you're like, oh, if you kiss me, you're gonna fall for me then. And I'm like, but the things that you were saying before you just said this line about her being like an idiot who you can't even stand to see, I thought that you hated her. So which is it? Why are you all over the place, bro? I don't understand Ryoki as a character at all. Like, there's nothing about him that I get, because this isn't just like a one-time incident. He's like this all the time. Like all the time during the, like throughout the entire movie, he's always this like indecisive. He's calling like women in particular indecisive. Like, bro, you're the one who's being like hella indecisive now. Shinobu, the older brother, actually does have romantic feelings for Hatsumi after all, and it's gotten to a point where he's really struggling to, like, you know, keep his emotions in check. The whole reason for him to even be a character in this story is just to show the audience how desirable and attractive and beautiful the main girl is. Like, she's so desirable that even her sibling can't keep his hands off her, is what I'm saying. That's the whole reason why he's there. And then one of the worst things that I've seen in any movie that has come out over the last decade. Maybe it's an over exaggeration because I don't watch a lot of movies. This scene right here. I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna say anything about it, because I can't. If I start talking about it, I'm just gonna go off the rails. Like, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to be. I'm just gonna show you to the 5 people out there watching. You're just gonna watch this scene and hopefully be as enraged as I am right now.
立花君、今日この後暇？模試終わりだしさ、パーッと俺に付き合わない？
パート？
今日森下と合コンなの。
くだらね
行こうよ立花君。森下の女の子ってバカだから、みんな恋愛以外やることねえからさ。バカバカまた開くからさ、ありがたいよな。バカバカそもそもお前らと俺らが釣り合うわけないだろって儚さ。形あるもの皆壊れる。女は所詮中古にガバガバになるからね。
高校で遊んでるやつだって大体そのまま遊び続けるけど、まあ俺たちってそういうわけにはいかないわけじゃん。だから遊ぶのは高校までにしよっかなって。社会勉強の一環さ、女の子口説くのも。
そんな女の子たちも若いうちに彼女たちなりの勉強がしたいんだよ。自分の体使ってさ、自分の価値を知りたいわけ。自分たちが女だって認められたいわけだから、メイクとかしてるわけでしょ。女って大体そういう映画ばっかしか見ない。キラキラした世界で私のこと食べて。女の子たちのそういう切ない思いがあるから、そこに俺らがつけ込めるわけでしょ。なるほどね。便利アイテムゲットしに行こう。ゲットゲット。
はーい。パス。なんで？
もしかして立花君彼女いんの？
どうなの立花君？
いないけど。
じゃあいいじゃん、固いこと言わず。
彼女はいないけど、俺専属の奴隷ならいるよ。
So, yikes. All I want to say is fuck those guys. Disgusting, pathetic. Oh, I don't even want to. Ryoki and his predator posse run into Hatsumi and Akane on the streets, and Ryoki, our main love interest character person whom we are supposed to be rooting for in this movie, he orders Hatsumi to go along with these and, you know, just take off with them. They have cornered her, and Hatsumi is visibly like terrified. She's uncomfortable, and she's just like, she does not want to be there. And these guys are harassing her, obviously to show, like, you know, what a cool, good guy Ryoki is. He is like, you know what, I've changed my mind, you're coming with me. And basically he just rescues her from a very terrible situation that he himself has put her in the first place. I don't know, you tell me. Ryoki is like mad because like, you know, she was like, you know, letting these other guys touch her, and Hatsumi for the first time probably in her entire life stands up to him. She's like, you're the one who like, you know, send them over to me in the first place. And he's like, shut up. And she's like, you know what, no, you shut up. And I'm like, props, good, she's actually grown like a little bit of a backbone. Like, yeah, it's only against this one guy, but it's a start. Hey, let's have it, let's do it, like, please let this be like the start of something good. It is and it's not, like, that's as far as she goes. Honestly, I'm the only person she ever like, you know, does stand up to, like any sort of bullying or whatever, is just Ryoki. And in certain scenarios afterwards, like, it's kind of not even really needed, because we go to that phase where like, you know, he's warming up to her, so he's not being as mean to her. So it's like, it was there, it was something. This movie has lowered the bar for me like so much up until now that I'll take whatever I can get. Azusa kind of asks Hatsumi out, and then they go on their first date. Azusa takes Hatsumi to this club, to this nightclub, because, you know, he's a model, he's popular, he doesn't go to like regular dates. This is the only time in the entire movie that I could relate to Hatsumi, like even just like a little bit. And it's because like Azusa leaves her alone to go grab some drinks, and she's just lost. But yeah, he goes to grab her some drinks, and turns out Azusa is not the nice guy that he's been showing us he is. What Azusa does is he roofies Hatsumi's drink. He makes her drink the drink cocktail, and while she is drinking and starting to get groggy, a few of his other friends have gathered around them. She is gone, she is whacked, she is far gone. He is suggesting that they all take her away somewhere to possibly sexually assault her, you know? This is why I'm saying that this movie needed all sorts of trigger warnings. There's just so much happening in this whole story, like so many things that visibly needed disclaimers, and there's just none of it there. Like, I don't even know if there's any like towards the end credit, because it's all in Japanese. Like, the whole movie is supposed to be portrayed as like some sort of cute romantic fluff, and they don't want to have that like, you know, label attached to them, like, you know, that it needs trigger warnings and stuff. But that happens, and she gets rescued by her older brother, who is actually working part-time in the bar. Again, another trigger warning. Hatsumi, she's gone to bed. She's probably like, you know, sobered up by now from the drug. She sees that she's got like multiple calls from Azusa. She calls him back. She video calls him back. Somehow or the other, the conversation leads to Azusa wanting to see Hatsumi naked on video. After a little bit of convincing, she complies. Next morning, Shinobu comes into the room. Turns out Azusa not only tried to roofie this chick and put her in a situation where she is sexually assaulted by multiple men. What he does is the whole video session that they're having, where Hatsumi is, you know, naked, he records it and he sent the video to her older brother. We don't know why he's doing what he's doing. At this point, I feel like what the story is trying to do is it's trying to make Ryoki the lesser of two evils. And this is something that I've seen happen in a lot of these romance stories where you have two potential love interests. The main guy is like a super duper dickhead, like, you know, for whatever reason, like, and he's always upfront with his like dickheadedness. Okay, whatever mean thing he has to say or he has to do, he will never do it behind your back. He will always be very upfront with it. He will call you a bitch in front of your face. He will call you a stupid idiot dumb slut in your face. So you know that every single thing that he says or he does, it comes from a place of sincerity. Like, this is actually who he is. This is actually how he feels. He is a genuine dickhead. There's nothing fake about him. His dickiness is all real. So, and then you've got the other guy, right? He starts off all nice and genuine, and he seems like a real catch. Like, you know, like he's so good. Like, he's way too good to be true. And turns out every single time, all that niceness and gentleness, it was all fake because he had really bad ulterior motive. Say what you will about main guy one. He never has any ulterior motives apparently. It always leads him to doing unspeakable things like Azusa roofing her, video recording her naked without her consent, tricking her into being naked for her. And I feel like the only reason that authors always make this guy, the second guy, be that sort of a person is just to show that, you know what, our main love interest might be a dick, but even he has boundaries. Like, he may slut shame you in public. He may call you an idiot. He may demean you. He may be condescending. He may never see you as a real human being. But at the very least, even he has enough boundaries to know, like, you know, what is morally right or wrong. Like, he would never, like, you know, do any of those things to you. Like, he would never try to, like, you know, get you raped or, like, you know, leak your news, do that, which is why he most definitely, despite all those other bad toxic characteristics that he has, this is why he is the better option. This is why you should be rooting for him and him only, because he is the lesser of the two evils. This is what I think like a lot of authors do. Well, whenever they've, like, you know, written up characters who are supposed to be like cold and aloof and mean, this is how they make them seem like, you know, desirable. They just write down someone who is just 10,000 times worse. Yeah, so that's that. Azusa was an asshole this entire time, and we find out later on that the whole reason that he's doing all this shit is because turns out the reason that he had to move away in the first place is because his parents were getting divorced. And the reason his parents were getting divorced is because his mom was having an affair with Hatsumi's dad, and Hatsumi's dad had gotten his mom pregnant. And basically that broke apart his entire family, and he had to like fucking move away. He came from a broken family now because of what Hatsumi's dad did. And I'm just sitting here thinking that, but why take it out on Hatsumi? The action was done by your mom. Everything that happened was because of all the decisions your mom took. But I understand how it affected you and your family, okay? So I get why you're mad at Hatsumi's dad. But why are you taking it out on an innocent who has nothing to do with the entire situation? Like, she was, like, this all happened like years ago, right? So they were both children. She, for all intents and purposes, this is the first time she's ever hearing that her father cheated. Why are you taking revenge on the family by putting her through the same level of pain, if not worse pain, that you have gone through? And he says why he's doing it. He's like, oh, if I dirty the daughter, then maybe the father would feel pain or whatever the fuck, right? And I'm like, okay, listen, this is two adults' decisions ruining one family, right? This is Azusa trying to make Hatsumi suffer because of something that her father did that she had no knowledge of, no control over, nothing. Like, it has nothing to do with her. So why are you, how does any of this, like, what is the thought process of someone coming up with a plan like this? Like, you know, he spent years, like, he came back to live in the same apartment complex as Hatsumi does, just so that he could, like, you know, get close to her and, like, you know, put her through this. And it's probably taken him a lot of planning. He's probably convinced his dad to, like, move into the same building where his dad's entire life fell into pieces because, like, you know, his wife cheated on him. But he's like, no, my father is gonna live with me in the exact same building, and I'm just gonna, like, you know, make this bitch's life hell. I'm gonna ruin her life. I am gonna dirty her to the point where she, like, there's no coming back from it. Like, such sort of actions that have dire consequences. Like, people have actually, like, I'm not gonna get into that. But all I'm saying is it's yeah, so all that happens while Azusa was explaining his elaborate plan to Hatsumi over phone. Ryoki was there, he overhears everything. He was recording like the whole conversation, and he's like, I'm gonna expose you and your career is gonna be over and shit, right? This just acts as a plot point to bring Ryoki and Hatsumi closer, okay? And also obviously to make Ryoki seem like the more desirable like option out of the two, even though he is just as if like he is also trash, okay? Anyways, moving on. From a master-slave relationship into a study buddy relationship. Hatsumi is like, I'm so stupid, I'm so dumb, maybe if I studied more, like, you know, I'd be smarter. And Ryoki is like, hey, I'm a smart dude, like I'm top of my class, I'll be your teacher or something. So they become like study buddies, and they're having these like moments and shit. Ryoki is being less of a garbage person than he normally is, so like as you know, Hatsumi is like being all like nice and giggly around him, and you know they're going through that phase where they're becoming closer, okay? Like he's opening up to her and she's just being like, I don't care. And while that is happening, we find out that Shinobu, like the older brother, is actually not her actual older brother. So Shinobu is actually adopted. All these feelings he has is all of a sudden less creepy. Azusa for some reason knows. And Azusa's got this manager who's also like a big ass bitch, okay? I don't even want to talk about her, okay? She's there, she exists, she's a bitch. She goes to Hatsumi and she's like, she basically gives her hints as to like, you know what, your older brother, he might not be related to you, and not only that, I bet he's like widely attracted to you for some reason. Like, I don't get it, but he is. And obviously she plants that seed in Hatsumi's head, and Hatsumi is now just, I don't know what to do with this information, but thanks, I guess. Shit happens with Azusa. He and Hatsumi kind of sort of make up. Like, I don't know why, even though he doesn't deserve it. So yeah, Azusa and Hatsumi, for whatever reason, are sort of on good terms now. I don't get it. It's a thing. She has kind of basically forgiven him for like whatever the fuck he has put her through, right? And while all this is going on, Shinobu has decided that he's gonna move on because it's gotten too painful for him to live around Hatsumi anymore. Like he is at his limit. Like he does not know when he might end up doing something regrettable, so he's just gonna fuck off. The day that he is moving out, the night that he is moving out actually, he and Hatsumi share a moment in the elevator. The thing is, we know that they're not real siblings, right? We know that they're not related by blood. We know that Hatsumi knows, or suspects at least, that Shinobu is not her real brother. What we don't know is whether Shinobu knows that Hatsumi knows this as well. You know? So Shinobu kisses Hatsumi, but nowhere in this entire movie, and I believe this is a conversation that did not happen off screen. Nowhere in this movie have they shown that Shinobu knows, that Hatsumi knows that Shinobu is not Hatsumi's real brother. So he kisses her with the knowledge that Hatsumi still believes that he is her older brother. He kisses her. Why? This guy, he has been restraining himself. He has been putting his entire life through the grinder. He is like, you know, because of the feelings that he has for his sister. And he has been doing well up until this point in not acting upon his feelings. Like he has even taken the necessary precautions, like, you know, by staying away from her. He is moving apartments just so that he doesn't need to be around her anymore. And this one time, this one moment, and everything, it just falls down in this one moment of weakness. And it happens not because he finds out that Hatsumi knows that, like, you know, he's not his blood brother. So, like, morally speaking, there's kind of nothing holding him back, right? It's not because of that. That's not his moment of weakness. Power has gone out. They're stuck in an elevator together, and she inches closer toward him, like, you know, puts her head on his shoulder, and she's talking about how, like, you know, they used to, like, you know, sit closely and, like, be close to each other whenever, like, you know, they were cold and stuff. Like, she is talking about an intimate moment, like, that they used to share during their childhood as siblings, and he somehow takes this moment, this scenario, as an opportunity to lay one on her. Why? Anyways, Hatsumi at one point has, like, you know, told Shinobu about, like, why Azusa did what he did, and Shinobu takes it upon himself to investigate and find out whether or not their dad actually, like, you know, was unfaithful to their mom. And turns out it was Ryoki's dad this whole time. And the way they figured it out is that both Ryoki and Ryoki's father, they have, like, sort of like the same handwriting. And Shinobu found this one file with a sonogram with Ryoki's dad's handwriting on it. I'm guessing it's the kid with Azusa's mom. So they figure out that it was Ryoki's dad all along, right? And Ryoki's having, like, a mental breakdown over all this, because him and Hatsumi are, like, you know, finally starting to be, like, you know, normal sort of people. So Ryoki and Hatsumi meet up, and Ryoki's having, like, all sorts of a break. Hatsumi doesn't seem much concerned, but he's like, oh, let's run away together. And she's like, so they go to a love hotel. So they go to a hotel, and they're about to, like, basically have sex. Ryoki takes a condom, he chucks the condom, and Hatsumi is like, oh, you threw away the condom. And he's like, let's do it raw. Hatsumi's like, why? And Ryoki's like, I want to have a baby with you. And Hatsumi's like, why? And Ryoki's like, because if you have a baby together, then maybe a relationship would have a little bit more substance. And for the second time in the movie, Hatsumi actually says something smart. She's like, it would be problematic to have a child at this age. And Hatsumi's like, you're being so weird, like, is there something bothering you? And Ryoki shows her the thing. And Hatsumi realizes what this is, because she recognizes the handwriting, because, like I said, Ryoki and Ryoki's dad have, like, the same unique sort of handwriting. So Hatsumi's having a mental breakdown, and Ryoki's having a mental breakdown. Hatsumi runs off crying. Ryoki's stuck in the room crying. Hatsumi, like, you know, she's looking for a place of comfort, so she goes off to her brother, okay, stays over at his apartment, and he makes her hot cocoa, and Hatsumi starts talking about how, oh, like, you know, he's always known how to comfort her, like, you know, with hot cocoa. He knows that she likes it. And they're having, like, this nice little moment, like, you know, as brother and sister. Okay, again, we don't know if Shinobu knows that Hatsumi knows that they're not blood related, okay? We don't know that. It has not been addressed on screen, at least, okay? We don't know. Hatsumi is, you've always known how to calm me down. And she's like, oh, you must obviously also feel the same way, because, you know, siblings. Shinobu's like, no, I do not feel calm when I'm around you. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Obviously, by now, Hatsumi knows how Shinobu feels about her, right? Instead of addressing the situation or just leaving, like, you know, like, being non-confrontational and just leaving or whatever, instead of doing either of those two, she offers Shinobu to use her body like a trash can, because she's being very trashy. This is what she does. I've noticed. First things first, Ryoki's being like a dick to her, right? Azusa's being nice to her. She fucks off to Azusa. Cool. Right after that, Azusa's being a dick to her. Ryoki is being like comparatively nicer. So she fucks off to Ryoki. Now, Ryoki, well, he hasn't done anything. He's now suffering the actions of whatever his father has done in the past, right? Because his father was the one who was having the affair, and then he somehow paid off Hatsumi's dad to take the fall for it, because Hatsumi's dad was he needed money. Ryoki now realizes that, like, you know, everything that has happened to Hatsumi is because of his own father. So he is dealing with that thing in his head now. For the first time, he's actually going through something that might need some help and support as well. Like, and I understand Hatsumi is like, you know, she's like, oh, your father was the reason that, like, you know, I almost had my reputation tarnished. So I understand why she's visibly mad at him. What I don't understand is why after this she hasn't taken time to like think about the whole thing and cool off, or like, you know, the fact that she went to her brother for comfort. I understand, like, you know, going to someone familiar for comfort, but why like this? Your poor brother, okay? Your poor brother has been trying so hard. Like, he has, okay, throughout the movie. Like, yeah, there are moments where you can see his faltering, but he is trying. He's trying his level best to do something that's gonna, you know, make him regret his actions and decisions. He's trying so hard to stay away from you. He is trying so hard to just be an upstanding big brother, like, you know, protect you and care for you the way that he feels that a brother, like an older brother, should. He's trying so hard. And I mean, yeah, the thing in the elevator happened, okay? He has been trying. The point is, he's doing his best. Up until the point, he was doing his best. So knowing all of that, why is she suddenly taking this as an opportunity to run into the arms of this poor guy who is like, just he has no more self-restraint. He has nothing else stopping him. Like, at this point, he probably knows that she knows that they're not related. That is the only reason why she's, like, you know, offering herself up to him like this. And why? What is the thought process that made her come to this decision? And well, he doesn't so much so agree to use her, at least not right away. But he's like, you know, from now on, I'm gonna be the one who protects you and takes care of you. So in a way, they are sort of in a mutually agreed relationship. I don't know how they're gonna break that out to their parents, but so the next day she goes off to the prep school where Ryoki studies after school. Shinobu is a part-time teacher there, and they run into this girl, okay? She is also one of the students there, and you know, during the time where Ryoki and Hatsumi were having like their cute little study sessions, there was this one time where this girl and Ryoki were sort of having like a study session as well. She needed some help. He was helping her out. Hatsumi saw this. It made her jealous. That. So this girl that Ryoki once had a study session with, she comes along and she starts talking to Shinobu, and you can tell that she's got a crush on him, okay? She's got a crush on Shinobu. And for some reason, this incident, okay? This completely unrelated incident to what happened in the last scene, this makes Hatsumi come to the realization that, you know what? It's Ryoki. It's been Ryoki all along. It was never you, big brother. It was never Azusa. It was always Ryoki. And she fucks off. She leaves him at the prep school in the elevator, hanging. and she fucks off to Ryoki. And this is the reason why she fucked off, because this girl who she thought, who appeared like once just as a plot point to make her jealous, which I had forgotten, to be honest, like even happened. She comes along and doesn't matter about what happened in the last scene with Ryoki's dad and anything to do with that made her realize that, you know what, Ryoki's the one. It wasn't that. It was this girl, this unrelated girl, and from an unrelated scene. And why? Then this whole thing happens. I can't explain it. It is genuinely unexplainable. Like, I have no idea what's going on in here. Everyone's emotions are all over the place. The dialogue is all over the place. The message of whatever this whole conversation is all over the place. There's probably multiple, and I wasn't able to grasp any of them. I'm just gonna play it, and then we're just not gonna talk about it. I'm just gonna play it just because I feel like someone else should have a glimpse of the pain and the torture I went through when I sat through 2 hours of this movie. I swear, by the first half an hour, I was hoping for this movie to be done. I kept on like checking the bar to see like how far the movie had gone, and every time I thought that we were closer towards the end, we were just not. But yeah, I sat through 2 hours of this one entire scene is basically like a gist of like what the entire movie sort of is, like, you know, like, and I'm not gonna talk about it.
なんでついてくるんだよ。
分かんない。
お前なんて裏切り者だろ。みんな尻がるクソやりま。お前何時会員する中でって知ってる？
さあ、それでも私が好きだったくせに汚い私を求めるりょうきくんは結構もっと汚いね。
ああ、空っぽのお前に何かが入ってくのは楽しかった。だからお前とやってみたいと思ったのかもしれない。お前の中に入ってみたかったんだ。
それってディスってる？
褒めてるよ。一緒に変わりたいって思ってた。お前が俺の初恋なんだ。
それでも自由な恋がしたいでしょ。これから長い時間が過ぎてたくさんの
親父の血が流れてるからって言いてえのかよ。
絶対にいつか終わっちゃうって分かってるのに、これからもずっと好きでなんていられないよね。
そんなのこっちのセリフだよ。お前はいつもフラフラと。
だって選ばれたことがないのに自分に価値があるなんて分かんない。
そもそも大前提として言うけど、お前がこの世に生まれた時点でもう選ばれてるってことなんじゃないの？お前何のために生まれてきたの？誰かに選ばれることなんて待つなよ。あとはお前が何を選ぶかだけだろ。
そんなの分かるか分かんないかも分かんない。
はい、出た。お前の分かんない癖。お前の意志はどこにあるんだよ。お前って本気で誰でもいいんだろ。
立花君に言われたくない。
ってお前は俺が消えても俺の代わりなんていくらでもいるって顔してる。
それでも立花君といると私の体で怒りたくなるし走りたくなるよ。私の代わりは私しかいないってものすごく感じるの。だから今は一緒にいたい。誰よりも。
お前それディスってんの？褒めてるつもり？
分かんない。立花君に出会って初めて自分がそういう女だって分かったの。立花君といれば幸せになれるとか、立花君とじゃなきゃ幸せになれないとか全然思わない。私が私の足で立ち上がることができればきっと誰とだって幸せになれるんだって立花君がそう思わせてくれるんだよ。
うるさい。さっさと俺のものになれよ。
そんなのできないよ。私の顔も私の声も私の手も私のものだもん。
お前自分が可愛いからって開き直ってんじゃねえよ。
そんなの知らない。分かんない。
ババアになっても同じこと言えんのか。お前がクソババアになった。お前のこと愛も変わらず求めてやってるのなんて俺くらいになるんだから。お前大丈夫？
それでもこれからシワシワになってボロボロになってもっともっと汚くなっていつか誰からも求められなくなっても私の体は私のものだ。私はそれが嬉しいの。だから気づかせてくれて本当にありがとう。
俺はお前のこと汚いだなんて今まで一回も思ったことないから。そんなの事実じゃん。世界認識に誤謬があるまま悲観すんの。
今すぐによきくんと約束なんてできない。それなのに恋愛はすぐに終わっちゃうし、私どうしたらいい？
約束なんてもういらねえ。男と女にもなりたくねえ。どうしたらいいって。ふざけんの。どうもすんな。お前でいろよ。お前といたいんだ。お前の耳聞いてる。お前の頭分かってる。
なの分かってるよ。
じゃあお前絶対に生でやらせろ。血なんて混ぜればいいだ。お前の血と混じればまだマシになるよ。そんなこと思えばお前ぐらいなんだよ。
それはできない。
結果俺のことなんていつだって全然見てなかった。お前のいい感じに俺はかけてたの。成田初美は宇宙一の大バカ者だよ。たった一人の女の子のことを大切にしてみたいって思ってた。相手がお前だったらいい。俺はずっと望んでるよ。
私どうして大人になる前にセックスできる体になるのか分かんなかった。でも今のみおきくんに会っちゃうからだね。17歳の立花みおきくんに会えて私はスーパーラッキーガールだったよ。ねえ今すぐしよっか。空っぽでもいいことってあったんだね。今この気持ちを大切にしたい。私よきくんの子供はきっと産めない。でもそれでもよきくんを今私が包むよ。
それでもいい。そうか。子供なんかいらないから。今俺が子供のままの君を愛すよ。強くなったらもっと愛す。強くなろうとするから俺を見ていてほしい。
見ていたいって今は思ってる。絶対に今は思ってる。
だから俺だけ老いたとしても傷ついたとしても罪の目で俺を見てほしい。
今すぐお母さんになれなくてごめんね。でも見てるから。だって私の目を見たら分かるんでしょ。もう分かってよ。分かんなくても分かってよ。
分からないままで分かってたよ。お前の目初めて見た時からずっと好きだったんだ。
これが初めて。
それを繰り返せばいいんだろ。何度でも。
If someone understood what happened in that scene, I would be very happy if they could explain it to me as well. Please do me a kindness. And yeah, so now they're together. Hatsumi and Azusa are okay with each other. Hatsumi and Shinogu are okay with each other. But yeah, that was it. That is Hot Gimmick, the movie, adapted from Hot Gimmick, the manga by Ai Haramiki. In conclusion, this movie is absolute garbage. It was maddening. I hated every second of this movie. There is not one good thing that I can point out or say. I left out so many things. And I'm also going to be cutting out so many of the things that I'm saying here because this video is way too long. Every single thing that transpired in that movie was hateful. Yeah, so that's Hot Gimmick. I know I said I wasn't gonna do it, but my curiosity got the better of me, so I did go and just glimpse through the first chapter of Hot Gimmick. So they had known each other since they were kids. They've been living in the same apartment complex since they were kids. And Ryoki used to bully Hatsumi when she was a kid. And by bully, I mean he actively tried to kill her. He pushed her down the stairs when they were a kid. And he did it on purpose with the intent of wanting to hurt her. And I don't know how his character progresses throughout the entire story, okay? Movie Ryoki is any indication of what manga Ryoki is, then we know he is a messed up dude. And this is the guy who we were supposed to be rooting for. This is his introduction in the first chapter as a trauma memory for Hatsumi. She is visibly just hearing his name sends tremors through her body, because this guy has caused her so much trauma. Like, she says that she really believed she was gonna die from that fall from the stairs, and this is the guy who ultimately she ends up, you know, being with. This is her love interest. This is supposed to be the love of her life. The guy who tried to kill her as a kid and then continued to bully her entire teenage life. The moment that I saw this movie up on Netflix, I knew that I was gonna make a video about it, like, regardless of what my channel is gonna be. I still have no idea what my channel is gonna be. I'm just gonna talk about stuff that I want to talk about, just ramble on and on. It's just gonna be all over the place. But I knew for a fact that this was a video that I wanted to make. Like, this was the first video that I wanted up on my channel. I hope all of the 5 people who watched this video enjoyed it. Because I'm new to this, I would love to hear any opinions, comments, criticisms, anything regarding what you just saw, like what you thought about it, if you've seen Hot Gimmick, or if you're planning to see Hot Gimmick, any thoughts you have on Hot Gimmick, and just the video overall. Let me know whether you liked it, whether you didn't. Hope you guys have a great day. If you watched till the end, thank you so much for sticking around. I really truly appreciate it. That will be all. That's all. Bye.